everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cosmic Conversations. I am your host, Marla Martenson, and I'm here for a special Valentine's season edition about palmistry and soulmates with Master Palmist Myrna Lou Goldbaum. Welcome back to the show, Myrna Lou.
Hi, thanks for having me back. It's been about 5 or 6 months.
Yes, we did a video, and we did, you were on my Mystical Matchmaker podcast as well over there.
Right.
On iTunes, and that was so much fun. So you guys, today Myrna Lou is going to share what part of the hand shows our possibility for a soulmate, and the meaning of that, because things are written. Talk a little bit about how things are written in our hands, and are we born with that, or does it develop? And then you can show us the soulmate thing.
Well, we're all born with a hand about this big. Okay. And as the child develops, it has experiences. And by the time you're 16, you have your first love affair where you go, up, down, up, down. Okay, then you have a marriage or whatever happens. So everything that impacts the brain is really on the hand. And the brain is what makes the lines on the hand, even when it's in womb. So the soulmate mark is a symbol. There's 5 basic lines I look at in a palm reading, and one of them is the love line. And when I ask people, what do you want to talk about? The first thing is the men say my lifeline, and the women usually say my love line. Then the men want finance, and the women want to know all about soulmates.
Yes.
So a soulmate means to me reincarnation. And it means you knew somebody back in another lifetime, and you and that person reconnect this time. So a reconnection isn't the exact person that you saw before, and you're not who they knew before, but internally you know it. So it could be they were your mother in another lifetime, or you were a little boy and now you're a woman. It changes every time you come back, but we have implants. And the implants are memory banks that you never really forget. And so if you recognize somebody that you don't recognize them physically, but your system goes, I'm home, I'm here, this feels right, that's the one.
And it seems like I see women, I'm a matchmaker, and I see the single women talking, see it on Facebook or talking about it. They're very concerned about, is this my soulmate or is this my twin flame? And sometimes I'll say, instead of really focusing on worrying about that, find somebody who's a good partner and a good fit that you can get along with, because that's a challenge right there. Just look at the
difference rate. It doesn't have to be a soulmate.
Right.
So only 1 in a million people marries a soulmate the very first time.
Oh.
And then if you get it in a second or other marriage later on, it's like a miracle.
Uh-huh.
And it's nice.
Now, why is it, do you think a soulmate connection is a deeper, or you get along better, or could it be where you really, they're teaching you something and you could be fighting a lot with your soulmate?
No, with soulmates, there's no competition, sexual tension, frustration, aggravation, because you already did that back there in another lifetime. So this time you're going forward. When you go forward, you might have disagreements, but there's more compromise.
Oh,
and to me, compromise means one person gives up and you don't fight about it like this the whole time.
Right.
Sometimes it's their thing and sometimes it's yours. Right?
Yeah. And you wrote a book about
a partner is a soulmate.
And what about twin flame? What's the
That's
difference?
Very rare. And a twin flame happens like 1 in millions of times. And that's where a person broke off and becomes it's a split personality. 2 people are really one person, and they find their other half, but I've never even seen one.
Wow.
And I've read over 56,000 palms, and I've never seen a twin flame.
Oh, and you can see that in the palm if they're going to
I would know, yeah. So a symbol of a soulmate is looks like a pyramid or a football field, or it could be round, elongated, but it's right here on the hand, and I don't have one. But I have a diagram here, and on the diagram, it's this big thing right here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And if the baby finger can fit in the slot,
okay,
then that means that's supposed to be a match made in heaven, sealed with a kiss by God.
So if, let's say I had one, then does that
mean?
You
do have one. I did your hand.
I have a twin flame, but
no, you have a soulmate.
Oh, I have a soulmate. Does that mean that I was with one, or I would be in the future? future,
It
maybe.
means you're with one right now, the way I read your hand.
Oh, okay, yeah, but
So
we,
that
but we
means
don't,
that,
but
okay,
we're like this though. It's not
right,
time.
because you came together to learn some lessons. Once you complete it, you'll be okay, but you haven't completed yet what you need to learn.
Okay, yeah, it's
You
taken me a
both
couple
need to
decades already.
So you're all ready to say, I'm done, but you're not. Okay.
Oh, woo! I came here to learn, back to learn a lot of lessons learned at Myrna Lou. I tell you, okay, well, that's why I'm doing all of this self-growth and these shows and my continual self-work on myself, because it's all about, I believe it's all about us. We don't put it on the other
Well, there's
person.
three things I call the 3 C's, and I have it up here, so I'm going to read it to you, or I'll just read it. So it's choice, change, and chance. So if you have a choice who you end up with, which you picked who you're with, or it happened and you're married, then you have a chance to make it work, and both of you have to work at it, not just one.
Right.
And then change happens, and change is good because that means your movement forward, not backward. So soulmates come together to make change because they already had back there something, but they didn't complete it. So what I tell people, let's say it was grandma and grandpa, and you were grandpa last time.
Okay.
You didn't get to the hospital in time to say goodbye. Grandma died. You're not grandpa, but you have that implant that I told you we have implants. So you have some in your system. You meet somebody who is grandma, but it isn't. It's the guy you married. But your system says, that's it. This is mine. Well, you can have as many soulmates as you have past lives. So if you
So if I was the grandpa in the past life and now I have that implant of what happened, and then that's
now
how.
this time you meet the person that you didn't get to finish with, but
Oh,
not grandma and grandpa finishing. It's you and the other person saying, aha,
uh-huh.
this is it. We found each other. We're never leaving each other. So soulmates come together. Sometimes people come together to make babies.
Mm-hmm.
Then after they have the children, they split because that's why the soulmates came together, is to complete, make the name go forward. Sometimes they get together and it doesn't work at all after 2 years, 2 months, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that was a mistake or an error.
Right. It was, or alcohol or something happened there. So so the imprint, is that coming in with our soul? It's a soul imprint,
right?
It comes into the body with us.
It comes in, it's your soul talking to your body because your brain is alive now, right?
Yeah.
And you can hear the little voice in your head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The little voice says, he's the one, or that's not it. You know, it just depends on what you're after.
Yeah. And sometimes we'll think he's the one, and we hear that in the back, he's not it, but our hormones are so,
Well, but you have to connect on more than just hormones.
Right.
You know, it has to be mental, emotional, physical, sexual is part of it. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of different ways people come together so that here's a person, and they look like this, mm-hmm. not that. So over here is hormones, but that's only one part of it. See?
In my business as a matchmaker, especially with the men who are the higher affluent men seeking a beautiful woman to settle down with, they're so focused on the looks, how she looks, that I could have perfect, all these great things on paper, and she could be an attractive person, but if she doesn't have the exact look he's looking for, he won't even consider her. So I think a lot of people are missing out on their
That's right.
Yeah.
Because physical is only one part of this, mm-hmm. and sexual is one part, and the mental part's there. But men want somebody younger usually.
Yeah.
And they want the older men who are affluent, and they want somebody they can say, look at this trophy on my arm, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it makes me upset because it's such a double standard. They don't, it's like, why do us women have to go for a guy 20, 30 years older, but the guy wouldn't go for a woman 20 or 30 years older, or 10 even.
Well, that's the thing, that they want somebody so they can relive their youth and make everybody look at what I did, look at me.
Yeah.
So most divorces happen because of that. Because people,
you mean like the woman gets older and then he trades her in for a younger model?
Well, no. I think it's because they got the use out of, look at what I got on my arm, and then they go on and do something else, and they don't want to be bothered with being married anymore. They want to be a free agent.
Yeah. We sure do have a lot of divorce in our society.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Only 6% stay together 50 years.
Oh my goodness.
And 85% of women say their proposal wasn't even romantic.
Right. Yeah. And that's a big deal for the woman, that proposal and that ring. You know, the woman really loves that.
Well, we want, romance, and we want to be wined and dined, and we want to have a little bit of something nice before they say, let's just do it.
And before they say, go make me some dinner.
Well, that's it. They want to be nurtured and taken care of.
Yes.
And it's our nature. Women's nature is to be the nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think that what's tough now too is the men love that. Like my husband loves it when I make him dinner at night, and I make him a pasta. It's very quick, it's easy, but he likes it when I do it. And but it's because I think they just feel kind of taken care of, because that's how the man and woman was for so many thousands of years until
right. That's the way it should. And it shouldn't be, you make yours, I'll make mine, and I'll see you later. And
right.
A lot of people do that, or they eat on the fly.
Yeah.
And they never sit down together, and they never have a meal.
Yeah.
Okay. So men decide in 15 minutes of dating if they want to have a second date. Mm-hmm. Did you know that?
I've heard that it's even less, like in 3 minutes or 90 seconds, because they take a look and either they like how she looks or not.
Oh, true. I guess it is the look, but it takes a woman an hour to decide.
Yeah.
We spend about an hour thinking it over if we want to go on a second date, or if we want to say this isn't going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're not making all the judgment on looks. If the guy is super funny, he's powerful, he has some intrigue, some interest, we'll say, well, we'll give him another go.
And you want somebody with integrity,
who
has a lot of other characteristics that you're looking for. Everybody looks for certain characteristics. I call it the list. We have the list, and everybody has a list of what they wish they had. Yeah. And everybody has a wish list.
Yeah.
And they're looking.
It's true. And how important do you think that is? Do you think people have too many things on their list? Do you think they should hone it down to just a few?
I don't think it could be too many.
Oh, okay.
I think that it doesn't matter what in your mind you're looking for. Mm-hmm. I see people who are seeking a soulmate. I call it single seeking soulmates. Mm-hmm. Then I see people who are married with their soulmate, and they ask me, am I with my soulmate? And the answer is, well, it's on your hand. Yes, you are. So I thought so. So a lot of times people will tell me in a reading, no, that isn't right. We get all done, and I'm all finished, and we're closing up the paperwork or whatever I have in front of me. And they say, you know what? I lied. You were right. He is my soulmate. I just wanted to see. They like to test me.
Oh.
You can't fool me, because I've been doing this too many years. I know.
Yes, you started at like 9 years old, right?
10, but it was just 10.
Yeah.
So I was I wasn't even ready for dating or thinking about any of that yet. And yet I knew. Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
You knew that.
I knew if somebody shouldn't be with somebody, I could just feel it.
Mm-hmm. And when did you actually start professionally getting paid to do hand readings?
At 16.
Wow.
I was getting like $1 a hand. Then when I met the husband I'm with now, I was charging $5 a hand, and that was 27 years ago. And he says, you're crazy. Charge 20. I said, oh, nobody paid 20, and they paid it. Now I'm at 100. Mm-hmm. And some of my friends charge 150, 160, and I wouldn't do that. Right. So he said, why don't you go up? And I said, because I'm going to charge what I would pay to hear me if I was coming to hear me.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
And I think it's fair.
It's fair, and more people can have access. And
right, that's right. More people come than the ones who are real high priced.
I keep my reading. I do readings, card readings and healings, and they're very reasonable, because since I'm a matchmaker and that's my business, I do the other, my spiritual side.
You have more than one hat. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. As a Gemini, I'm doing a lot of things over here.
But you get a kick out of all of it, don't you? Get the up out of it. Yeah, so do I. Yeah. That's why I'm still doing this.
I know. When I wish I would have started doing the readings earlier, because I'm having so much fun with it. It's just after
you discovered the metaphysical side of things late in life compared to some people.
Right.
Like I learned it at 10. I never expected to learn it. It just happened.
And then did your mother finally accept it that you were doing? How did your parents feel about you doing that?
My mother's the one who gave me the library book.
But she didn't know what it was. She just
She
handed it.
doesn't, yeah, right. And she never understood it all the years I did it.
Uh-huh.
And one time right before she passed away, she said, "Aren't you bored with this yet?" And I said, "How could you get bored? Every single person's hand is a story."
Yes.
And it's juice. I like it. You know, I can find things out. What do you want to find out for? I said, because sometimes you can help somebody.
Oh, yes.
That's the whole idea. They come to you looking for help or
Yeah.
guidance or something. And if I can look in a hand and say, this and this is what happened, but you can do this, and I push them out the door a little bit or help them, then it gives me the up.
Yeah.
I hear from them later and they go, "You were spot on. That was exactly what I needed."
Yeah, it's like when people do that to me too, they'll email me later, "You were spot on about it." And then I just like jumping. I feel so elated because I'm
right.
so
It makes you feel good because you know you helped. See, that's what I do it for.
Yeah.
It's not just for the
Not
money. It's also, it's more for the fun. Fun for me when I'm doing it, and then the up when I hear I did it right. I just did 3 internet readings.
Okay.
And all 3 of them wrote me how fantastic it was and that I was right on every single point.
Oh, and so when people do, so anybody watching this show, they can, I'm going to put you guys, her info is in the show notes. You can contact Myrna Lou. And then what happens? Do they take a picture of their hand?
Right, they take a shot of their hand and they send it to me with their age because I need to know where to look. Okay. And I don't want to start in babyhood. I'd like to know they're 27, 65, whatever it is. Okay. So then I do the 5-page report that I type up, and it's a single-spaced, big, long report.
Yeah.
Takes a while to read.
You guys, I'm going to connect.
Oops.
There's a call. There's an appointment coming in for you already.
I don't know. I thought I shut it up, and I didn't.
Call from. Yeah. You guys, I'm going to put the link to our first interview in the show notes so you can see and you can hear Myrna's whole story about how she started and how when her mom gave her the book and why, and it's very fascinating. And then she does do some sample readings in that video. She read mine and 2 other ladies, and
right.
It was very
well, and the reason I wrote the book on soulmate is because everybody I read, 90% of the people want to know about it. So I wrote the book, and it's right here, and it's called Soulmate Connections.
Beautiful.
And the subtitle is Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Love, Romance, Relationships, and Soulmates. Mm-hmm. So I hit it all. So the publisher is Infinity Publishing. Mm-hmm. And the owner called me up, and he said, "You know, we have 900 authors here. I've never read a single book. I don't have time for this, but I read yours." And I said, "Oh, that's a compliment." And he said, "Well, the title didn't get me. The subtitle did."
Mm-hmm. What's the subtitle?
Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Relationships, Love.
We need that. And how did you become such an expert on it?
Well, he was 57, never been married. And he said to me, after I read your book, he called me and told me this, "I'm going out to find my soulmate." And I had to send him a wedding present. Mm-hmm. So he found his soulmate.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So that was like an up, you know.
And you find, how long have you been married now?
This time, 27 years. And first one was 20 and he passed away. Okay. The middle one was 13. Mm-hmm. So I have 54 years of marriage.
Yeah.
I really haven't been alone since I was 20.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like me. I'm on my 3rd and usually in a relationship.
And that's the thing. I believe in stick it out, you know, keep working at it. And I worked at it.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's not, I mean, I think people from fairy tales and romantic comedies, they kind of
they think it's going to be like the movies. Yeah. And then they find out it's hard work. It is. And you never get done. But both parties have to work. If only one's working at it and one just lets you do everything, that's when the divorce happens.
Yeah.
See, because you don't have a partner then.
So you guys, if you want a reading from Myrna, contact her. If you want a reading from me, my info's below. And I just want to wish you a beautiful search for your soulmate, and leave us some comments below. Let us know. Have you found your twin flame or your soulmate? What happened? Have you had your palm read before? Talk to us. We want to hear from you. Myrna Lou, thank you so much for stopping by again.
Thank you. I loved it. And happy Valentine's Day to you too.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye-bye.